the Weather Girls in honor of National Meteorological Day all across the land. And guess what? It's raining men. Welcome to our show this week. I'm Mark Trowbridge with the Coral Gables Chamber of Commerce. And of course, this is our partner program with the Miami's community newspapers. Please welcome my sidekick, everybody's favorite local paper boy, Mr. Grant Miller.
It's raining.
Men, hallelujah, it's raining men. Ho, ho. We should turn this into like a karaoke.
I think so, too.
You know, every day on the calendar is a day. It's also National Puppy Day, but there aren't as many great songs about puppies as there
What
are
else
about
today is?
weather.
Today's the first day of what?
First day of what? I don't know.
Spring.
No, that was Saturday.
It's close Saturday, Tuesday.
We're already halfway through spring, 4 days in.
That's how far I'm behind. So what did you do last weekend?
I was up in Mount Dora for the Spring Crafts Festival. Went up on Friday with my friends Cheryl and George, both of whom are celebrating birthdays. Cheryl is and George is His birthday's today. Her birthday was on the first day of spring. So we had a great time. They had an amazing festival of creators and makers. And, you know, I love that stuff. I love antiques. I love crafts. I love just really clever ways that people repurpose. I bought this amazing ponytail palm from a company that was last week at the Orchid Festival. I didn't buy it then because they only had orchids, but there they were all the way up in Mount Dora, 256 miles north of here. And you know what? I got myself a really awesome ponytail palm.
So I have to ask our producer, Tommy, were you invited to Mount Dora last week?
I was not. Were you?
I was not.
Tommy, I feel like you have commitments on the weekends. You have a lovely lady.
No.
Grant has commitments as well.
She's been released back into the wild.
Oh, really? Are you okay?
Yeah, man. I'm rolling now.
Okay, so we're closing
Why
out
didn't I
Women's
know
History
that? Why
Month.
are you keeping things from me?
Oh.
Relationship statuses. It's complicated. It's complicated. I love when people say to me, "Can you call me tomorrow? Today's complicated." And I'm like, what does that mean?
All right, so we're ending in Women's History Month, right?
It is Women's History Month all the way through next Wednesday, the 31st. And we've been celebrating women all month. If you go on our Instagram at Gables Chamber, what I think you're going to see is some great spotlights of our ladies of the Chamber board. And next Tuesday, the 30th, we're going to be doing a small outdoor private event announcing all of the finalists for the Equitable Advisors Businesswoman of the Year Awards. Those are not going to take place this month because we want to do them in person. So we're going to just do an announcement of the 27 finalists. So that'll be on Tuesday at Bay 13, 5 o'clock. It's a small group, invitation only, but another great way that we celebrate Women's History Month.
What time is that?
5 o'clock. Join us. Yep. So we'll be announcing the finalists from the field of all the applicants. The judges met a few weeks ago. We've been kind of holding that close to the vest until we can come up with an opportunity to recognize them. I feel like my jacket was pulling up.
No. Can you get a lion roar for me in a second when you're ready?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like a roar.
What? Well, March is roaring in.
I want people to call us while we're on live. You always get a call. No one ever calls me while we're on live.
Because you turn your phone off.
No, it's right here.
Okay. So there. Okay, let's start it. Okay, ready? You say March is roaring.
March is roaring. Beautiful.
Sounds like Mark at lunch.
Every meal. Breakfast. Listen, today already I've had 2 meals. I don't usually eat 2 meals.
So Friday was
a
a triple crowner.
Yeah, Friday I worked in the morning. We had a Beacon Council board meeting, and then I had a staff event call, and then I was off and running up to Mount Dora around noon.
No, but with triple crown, man, you had 3 big hits.
That's right. We had 3 trustees join. Oh, Morgan's calling me. She thinks she's so funny. Morgan, why are you not posting anything in the chat?
I want that toy, Tommy.
That's like every relationship I'm in. People just hang up on me. Anyway, we had 3 new trustees. So let me tell you a little bit about each of them. The first is our friend Joaquin and Chris and
Mrs.
the
Bean,
entire
Lori.
folks at Bean Automotive.
That's Kendall Toyota, Kendall Lexus, West
They
Kendall.
own a number of wonderful dealerships under that rubric. And
Can I interject something about?
Please.
Kendall Toyota started on US 1 and Ludlam, next to Big Cheese, across the street where U-Haul was. That's where Mr. Beam started.
And it was on the west side, huh?
Yep, that little corner right U-Haul.
I
That's where he
had
started.
no idea.
Yeah,
so I wondered where Bean Auto came from. So Mr. Bean,
yes, Lori's father,
founded the
Kendall Toyota,
the group. Okay, so Kendall Toyota,
and then he started then the Lexus,
and now we have Kendall Lexus,
and the Lori's
or
doing a great
Lexus
job.
of Kendall.
Right, they're doing a great job. And who else did you get?
And Chris Roberts, just so you know, when I came to the chamber, he was on our board. Now Joaquin is the day-to-day guy, and he's awesome. And we're working with a whole group over there.
Just to let you know, Chris Roberts. It's hard to believe.
You were college roommates.
Not we were roommates. We weren't in college. We were out of that.
Okay, you were a little bit older.
His suits and shirts were still pressed perfectly back then.
Yeah, but that's what he did.
Yeah, he knows.
He was a haberdasher.
What's that?
I don't know. Clothes.
Yeah, he had. Yeah. All right, so you got the Beam Auto group. Who else?
Career.
Stacked.
Great guy. Always very supportive of our chamber. Very positive of our chamber. And we're going to be working more closely with them as we put together a small business summit here in May. And then third and most excitedly was our friends at L Car Wash. Thank you, Justin, and the whole
One more time. Ready?
Tell me Justin's partner's name.
Justin's partner.
Very good. I met him for the first time yesterday. We were at the dedication of the L Car Wash in South Kendall. First of all, what an impressive operation. Second of all, I couldn't get in the parking lot. There were so many people washing their own cars, going through the car wash. Our friends from Mojo Donuts were there. Thank you, Jimmy.
I had
what a great
2 donuts.
celebration.
How many did you have?
Well, I had one there, and then I had one in the car, and then I had one at home. I had a real setback day yesterday, and I was feeling it later because I don't eat sugar like that anymore.
So they have 40 stalls to clean cars.
Yeah.
They're doing a great promotion.
Yep.
So they're a trustee.
What's the promotion right now?
For 1 month, free car wash, as many as you want. Brilliant.
At that location.
At that location. That is brilliant. Because once people get used to the traffic pattern, doing this way, that way.
So already today, I met with I had breakfast with one of our members and board members who is in real estate. And I told her all about meeting El Car. She goes, oh, we have to do a deal with them because realtors are always washing their cars. Then I talked to Joaquin and he says, no, connect me with them. I'd love to get some passes so that they can go over when they get their new car at Lexus or Kendall Toyota and get a car wash.
See,
already wheeling and dealing. Justin, if you're listening, the Tro is on it. And we're hoping to close 3 more trustee/gems before the end of the month. We already have 11 total new members for the month. I've got another business member I'm working on. And of course, the staff is hard at work while I am here with you selling memberships.
Wow. It must be difficult, but we had fun yesterday. We had balloons. It's like we were in a party.
Balloons, donuts. Boy, everybody turned out. You had representatives from County Commissioner McGee's office, from Daniela Levine Cavas, from the mayor's office, of course, our chamber, our good friend Carrie Black down in South Dade chamber was there, and then a little bit of everything in between. First of all, this is a moment to celebrate. Not only a new business opening, but bringing commerce to an area of the community that clearly is excited about this new location. What a beautiful piece of land. They've built a gorgeous property and just super proud of them. You know, they're very environmentally conscious.
They just wrote a check out
and
to
super supportive of the Zoological Society, which is the zoo, for $15,000. Thank you, Justin and team.
Well, it's pretty exciting. It was, to me, the most exciting thing is that I ate some donuts. I had 2 of them there.
Listen, you were out of control, and then that causes me to be out of control. You know, I sent the picture of you and I together to my nephew, and he said you were grabbing my arm like you were in a shower stall. I don't know what that means.
I don't know.
Maybe because your balance was off? Or?
It was. I do have vertigo. I had vertigo for the last 3 days.
I think it's vertigo.
Vertigo. What did I say?
Virgo.
Virgo. That's
How many Virgos did you have?
I had vertigo yesterday.
Did you?
Yeah, for 3 days.
Okay?
No, I'm not okay. But I was
a little dizzy?
So dizzy. Yes.
Sure
okay, so what else we got in review? We had so much going on this week.
Listen, March has been busier than February, which was busier than January. I think we're seeing 3 things. One, when you see El Car Wash open, I think you're energized by new jobs, new businesses, new opportunities. Secondly, you know, we activate in communities all across South Florida and Greater Miami and Dade County. Third, bigger than that is that these are jobs that are being created. There were jobs created to build that project, jobs created now to run that project. I was watching people running all over the place with directing traffic, putting out towels, emptying trash, just really excited. I think A, excited to have a great job, B, to work for folks like Justin, C, to see the future because they want to grow pretty significantly. So our chamber is going to work very closely with them.
Can I recognize one of your
it's all
people?
good.
Mario, your buddy.
Hi, Mario. Yes, he already put that on our group chat
But
earlier.
I want to talk about what he did. He just closed 2 houses.
Yeah, sure.
And one took 2.5 years. Am I correct, Mario? And the lady stuck with you guys. So congratulations, what you do.
Well, what Mario does at Habitat is really fantastic, and he's been so instrumental in keeping things going during COVID, but working closely with the county, building homes for folks. When you think about the folks who are moving into his homes, first of all, they put in a lot of sweat equity. I think it's like 300 hours. So they're super invested. They, in many cases, are single moms who are investing for their family. They have a great program that supports women. That's really important, not only year round, but certainly here during Women's History Month. And listen, their default rate is like nothing.
What is?
The default rate, because they work with the families to build them up and to make sure that they are not only invested, but they're going to live in that house and be part of that neighborhood and part of that community. So he's always finding new ways to be creative. And you know what? If you're looking for a charity to support our friends at Habitat for Humanity.
Do you have a phone number or anything?
No, but I'm sure Mario can put it in the chat. He wants to discuss the Florida Gators Oral Roberts debacle. So I want Mario to know that I went online and they have a shirt that just says Oral. And I bought each one of us.
So what about that debacle?
Well, we were trying to get into the Sweet 16 of the NCAA tournament.
Right.
We were up by 11 with about 8 minutes left, and we lost by 3.
I couldn't hear what he said. Was there a round of applause? I heard that.
No, there's no reason to applaud that. Listen, you know what? Every year there's a Cinderella team, and I think this year in the round of 16, the Sweet 16, I think it's Oral Roberts.
There he is. Thank you, Mario.
So, that's Mario's number. Reach out to him, especially if you want to make a donation. And most importantly, support great charities here locally. They've never stopped working hard on behalf of the community. And even though some folks were a little bit disrupted, if you will, because of COVID, they picked right back up. Think about it, 300 hours of sweat equity that you have to put in before you ever can be handed the deed to a house that's.
I know those people don't want it to be handed. They want to know that they worked and belonged.
That's why it works so well. Can I tell you? That's why it works so well. So good job, Mario. I'm going to be rooting for Oral Roberts. So here are the teams that are left. There's 16 teams.
Okay.
My biggest challenge is that Michigan is playing Florida State.
Who do you want to win?
Well, I despise both of those teams. So I grew up in Ohio, and of course, in the womb, they teach you to hate Michigan. So that's a rough one. And of course, I'm a Gator, so FSU, So it's a tough one, but I think I'm going to probably root for FSU, just being at least kind of a home team.
But you got to love the coach.
And Mario's right. The SEC has done very well. Alabama smacked the crap out of yet another ACC team last night in Maryland, just like we did in the first round. We beat Virginia Tech. Oh, they are?
Who is?
When did they move? Were they thrown out?
In basketball alone.
So I just got the memo. All right, sorry. Well, a lot of other ACC teams stink. So we beat Virginia Tech in the first round. So, in overtime.
Well, it's exciting.
It's just good to see something normal that we're used to being back. Like you mentioned, going to Mount Dora. One of the things that I think was normalized about that is it was a festival that typically takes place the first weekend of spring. And while they had to do some social distancing and ask people to mask up, they were able to carry on that event. And it was just great. That part of the state, I think, is not really well known to South Floridians. We don't spend a lot of time in the center of the state, but Mount Dora was named for Lake Dora, that was named for federal surveyors who were surveying that part of Florida. And they named it for a woman who was very hospitable named Dora Droughty. Dora was a widow. And so she would always have the surveyors into her home and take care of them and feed them. And so they named the lake for her. She also ended up having 5 children by these various surveyors, but that's just a little nugget for you.
What's interesting, you talk about Lake Dora, Brickell is a woman, Tuttle, the Causeway, Causeway named after a woman. A lot of it's. I didn't know this history. It's really
So
interesting.
Julia Tuttle moved here in the late 1800s from Cleveland. She actually was from the same city that Henry Flagler was from. They were Clevelandites, Ohioans. She was a widow. Her son had some health issues, so they came to what was then the precursor to Miami. But on the day in 1896 when they voted to incorporate as an official city, she couldn't vote because she was a woman. All the work that she did, luring Henry Flagler, making his case for, coming all the way and bringing his railroad. That day when they voted, men could vote. Even African-American men had the right to vote before women had the right to vote. When you think about some of the history in our country. And the struggles that they have had. But she could not vote that day. And I think, you know what? I would call upon Mayor Suarez as a way to close out Women's History Month to take a look at that vote count and allow her to be on those official rolls and cast her vote in the affirmative to incorporate in the 1896 the city of, at the time, Miami.
I love that idea. Should we call Francis?
I'm sure Francis is listening right now. Morgan asked me if I visited their chamber. It was not open, Morgan, but yes, I've walked by there a number of times. It's right in the downtown. And of course, if the IRS is listening, then I'm not going to say this, but then I write off the entire trip just by touching their door and say, I went and had a meeting and visited their chamber. I visit chambers in every town I'm in. I don't care if it's Austin, when I've been in Charleston. I actually had a meeting with the Charleston Chamber when I was there last year.
Can you dance to Charleston?
I don't think so. I'm also not a flapper. But all these chambers are super charming. Almost all of them in these small, adorable, charming towns are also their visitor center, which is the case in Mount Dora. And they also put on festivals, not the spring festival, but they do other festivals throughout the year. Mount Dora is very much a festival town. This craft show is considered a top 10 festival in the United States, and we loved it. Do you want to hear about some of my purchases? I maybe overspent a little bit.
I've been waiting to hear.
So I bought my ponytail palm that's in this giant moss ball.
That you could have bought it in Miami for the same price.
I bought Abraham Lincoln bookends that are a bust of him. I bought a book and maps on Gettysburg, which was at one of the booths. I met this artist who takes repurposed wiring and can shape it into anything. And I had him. I collect ampersands. And so he made it into an ampersand for me. And a few other things. I bought some cute, I wanted to buy these salt and pepper shakers. And the first night, I said, you know what, if they're here tomorrow, it's meant to be. I went back Sunday before we left, they were gone. And you know what, it wasn't meant to be. And he uses repurposed, old countertops, and then he presses them together so you get a lot of different colors. So anyway, he told me to check out his Etsy and see if he had them. Disabled American veteran and wonderful guy.
Okay, let's get back to Coral Gables. Good Morning America. We got called Good Morning America, Good Morning Coral Gables.
Well, to me, the audience is the same. We had a great Good Morning Coral Gables last week with Dr. Rania Habash. She is a preeminent ophthalmologist at Baskin Palmer, which is one of the best eye centers in the world, often ranked number 1. And she talked a lot about how being in front of Zoom, our phones, and other types of screens for the last year is going to have a deleterious effect on our eyesight. And so she debunked some myths, such as, being in front of the computer, depending on how far you are, how distant you are, is not going to have an effect on your eyes. But she gave us the 20-20-20 rule. Ready?
Ready.
Let's practice it. So every 20 minutes, look 20 feet away. And blink 20 times while you're looking. So I'm looking over in the corner.
I can't blink that fast.
And it allows your eyes to kind of readjust and reset so that you're not only looking at one dimension or one distance over again and again. She was awesome. We had a great impact seminar as well with Chris Colston, one of our board members, talking a lot about, your credit. We're still at historic lows for interest rates. You'll hear more about that on Thursday as we host a wonderful program on the residential real estate market. And it's basically hot, hot, hot. And who wouldn't want to hear about that from Jane Wooldridge from the Miami Herald, Ron Sheffield, and a few others. So we've got a lot of good things happening, not only in the chamber, but just happening locally. I'm feeling optimistic about where we are in terms of recovery. We had 11 members in February. We had 15 members in March. I'm sorry, 11 in January, 15 in February, and now we're already at 11 or 12, and we still have about 6 days left. So feeling good about closing the month big. Looking for another couple of trustees. So if you're out there looking for a chamber to join, and you're ready to work on building your business back, we're here for you.
I like that, building your business back. 3 B's.
Well, President Biden talks about, building better. I think, we're looking to build things back. I think people would be very happy if they could get back to where they were on March 1st, 2020.
Oh, absolutely.
And then we'll go from there. Our restaurants, our retailers, our businesses of all shapes and sizes.
Have we caught up on everything that happened last week?
Yes, I think so. We had we really had a great week, and I'm really proud of, again, the continued work that our chamber is doing in terms of programming. But, it's a small group. We used to be 11 or so folks, and now we're down to basically 4 of us.
That's right. It's a lean, mean fighting machine.
Lean, not so lean. Mean, not so mean. Fighting,
I don't know about
a little bit. Una máquina, yes. I am a machine. And so is our team. And, we're doing a couple more events this week. And, we just want to keep people together.
Week? Like where?
I'll just mention the real estate event that we happen to be hosting on Thursday at 10 a.m. Ron Sheffield.
Indoor or?
It's on Zoom.
Okay.
But we're also doing a Cafe con Chamber in person at Gables Fancy Corner.
When?
Thank you, Ricardo. That's Friday morning at 8:30. You ought to come by and we can shoot something at it's a new member of ours.
At 8:30? Where is it?
It's at Ponce and about 12th.
What's the name of the place?
Gables Fancy Corner. So it's a great store that sells jewelry. It's north of us on Ponce.
Is it on the meat next to the meat restaurant?
It's a little bit. It's very close to MKT.
Okay. It's Ponce and 12th.
Like call it the meat restaurant.
Maybe Tommy and I'll go there. Are you
Tommy? Join me Friday morning. I'll be there at 8:30.
Tommy
meet Ricardo and his team. And Maria, and we're just continuing to.
That's Friday.
Bring
what meeting is that
together?
For?
So,
what meeting is that for?
That's called Cafe con Chamber. So that used to be our coffee and conversation, and a couple years ago we rebranded it to be very much about our community, which was come in, have a little cafecito, and do that while talking chamber. No agenda other than meet and greet, small group, out of doors. And a way to get to know the chamber without having to make an immediate investment.
Getting to know you.
Getting to know all about you. Mario Artacona is a great singer.
But Mario, I just want to know, I know you're watching.
Why do you insist on calling him Mario?
What do you call him?
Mario.
Or
Mario.
Mario. My friend Martinez used to do Christmas in July, and he used to find homes, a whole block, and fix all the homes up at one time. The whole block.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Not the outside, the inside, just trying to fix the yards, fix the painting.
So Mario has a lot of other talents.
How do you pronounce it again?
Mario.
Yes.
He's a great golfer.
Does he take you out golfing?
He does not. We've never really talked much about golfing. We've watched some golf together. I try to be knowledgeable and say things like,
oh, I like his swing.
No, things like, the short game is where the money is, or, things like that.
Like things
I say things like Butler Cabin. And he's really great at that. And he's a great singer. So he'll bring his guitar. We've traveled a bunch together. He'll bring the guitar and then he'll pull it up and he'll find it online or whatever, the chords or whatever, and then we'll sing. Our favorite is musicals. So when we were in Cape Coral Castle a couple of weeks or now months ago, we were singing songs from Hamilton. And, I fancy myself, a bit of a sort of a undiscovered Broadway actor. And we're missing all of our brothers and sisters who are acting both on Broadway and in local theaters. But I will tell you, if I was made for a part,
what part would you be?
I would be the king in Hamilton. They say, let's bring that song up, Tommy. It's 3 different songs, but I think I could carry the tune. I think I could look the part, even though King George was mad and very petite. People don't really remember that. And I look really great in furs and robes.
Okay, while he's looking for it, how are we going to get involved this spring?
Yeah.
And March promotions, you get the Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn promotion. What happened with that?
Yeah, so we've been working with Morgan and with Christine on our team. Our
You
goal
find
is
that
to
song?
get above 5,000
Play any of them.
followers. Oh, is this it? Oh, get above 5,000 followers on Instagram so that we can monetize that a bit more in terms of our members. And we're right now at about 4,900. And we're about to launch our
Organic.
third phase. It's all organic. We don't buy anything. We want people to follow us or, be a partner with Sushi Maki or be a partner with Clutch or Threefold or Biltmore, and then also follow us.
Now, I told you about if you go to Sushi Maki, forget the sushi, fried Oreo cookies.
Well, the last time we were together, you couldn't remember what it was because I think you had overindulged.
Overindulged. This is unbelievable how good it is.
Everything there is great. And you know what's even better than that? It's a family-owned business.
Shop
lovely.
local, buy local.
How lovely. I just had lunch with a member of ours and the head of the
Where?
Business Improvement
Where'd you
District, Seasons 52.
Hold on a second. Tommy, were you invited?
Nope. Were you?
I wasn't invited either.
I see a theme going on here. You realize at some point it's you guys, not me, right? Just saying. But I eat lunch at least once a day.
Okay, what's up with Biltmore? Anything?
But can I just mention, I met with a guy named Brian Sykes. Brian is involved with the bid. He owns Sykes Printing. Third generation business, been in business 62 years, been on Andalusia in their current location the last 20, and he's the third generation. He's got two sons, twins who are 2.5, and I said, are they going to be in the business? And he said, I don't know, because the business will certainly be different 20 years from now than it was when Brian was there 20 years ago. Now everything's almost all digital, but it's fascinating because every business uses a printer.
Well, they're printing less.
They're printing less, but they're printing things in a more intricate, more outward-facing, more sophisticated way. Because maybe they only print one piece. So, like, we're doing an annual report for the first time this year.
Right.
Morgan and team have been working on that because I want to memorialize 2020, not just because the new year of the decade or our move or our 95th year, but I want to memorialize COVID because I think it's important to look at some organizations went into their shell. We came up with 15 milestone activities that we did in addition to our programming pivot in COVID. We updated our brand. We opened a welcome center. We sold our building. We moved. We redid our website.
Did 48 shows in Miami community newspapers?
Morgan, did we list that?
No. How do you not list that, Morgan?
Morgan,
do we have music?
We need to make an addendum.
Maestro? Maestro? Okay.
Wah, wah.
Okay, Miracle Mile
watches
zoning.
and waits
Updated,
throughout
4-1
Hamilton's
vote.
meteoric
4 to 1
rise
this
to
morning at
power.
around 10 a.m.
Wait. I thought, that was a second vote?
Second reading. It's over. It's done. I testified. Two other individuals testified, and it was a 4-1 vote, just like it was in the first round.
Okay, we
with
knew
the
that.
vice mayor dissenting.
It's exciting.
So I told the folks at the bid, I said, there are
Who
three
voted
things that
against
we need to do.
Who voted against it?
Vice Mayor Lago voted against it, but he voted against it in first reading as well.
Okay.
He's made it very clear that he doesn't feel like that was the path forward. But I know one thing about the vice mayor, he will be on board and working with us to make Coral Gables even better.
Is this your song?
No, it needs to be something from King George VI.
Okay.
It's probably like, if you name me the songs in the first act, I can tell you which song it is.
All right. So memberships, you're about 4 away for this month.
Yeah, I'd like to see us get 3 more trustees and then, a couple more fill-in members. I want to be 15 plus. We want to keep growing each month. So right now I would say we've got 2 potential trustees in the hopper. I'm supposed to have a breakfast meeting tomorrow, which I think may not happen, but that's another one that may be in April.
Hold on a second. Tommy, were you invited?
Yeah, I found the song.
Were you invited yes for breakfast
No,
tomorrow?
were you?
Nope.
I don't think you'd want to go to breakfast, would you?
I went to breakfast with you last week to help close that deal.
You did.
Can you sing this?
Need to pay. In the sea as you see me go by. Remember, he's standing there in these great lion robes. And so this is the character King George. Yes.
There you are. That's him. That can be
This is the
Mark.
part. Be back. Then you'll see. And really belong to me. Back. Motel.
All right, delete it.
All right,
delete
so
it.
take it off. Sorry. I want to apologize to Lin-Manuel Miranda and everything else. But
Okay.
that's the part I was born to play. I thought it was Edna Turnblad in Hairspray, but we have evolved and we have moved on.
The Marlins open in April 1st.
Thank you, Mario. He's right. I was struggling with the name of it. I just know the words. So
April 1st
is Thursday.
Tampa Bay Rays.
Opening day. Congratulations to our beloved Miami Marlins. Opening against the AL reigning champs Tampa Bay Rays. And it's going to be awesome. And
April
so
21st
we're working on an event for all the chambers for April 21st. So stay tuned. Working with Alfie, working with Andre.
Alfie,
with
that's
the whole
what I was
team.
telling you about, Tommy.
Alfie
Yeah.
Mesa.
Okay, I got to tell you why you played double when you go to the opening day.
Yeah.
The third base coach,
Yeah.
his name Tom Foley. Great story.
Okay.
1977, he was a great quarterback at Palmetto. He threw lefty, he threw righty.
Wow. Ambidextrous.
All county football player. Basketball, shot lefty, all county. Baseball, all county shortstop. His football coach went up to him and said, Tom, football is your sport.
Oh.
Well, thank goodness he didn't listen to him because he was drafted out of high school, played for the Expos, plays for the Rays, Cincinnati. He's been in baseball since 1978.
And he's still in baseball.
Right. Thank goodness he didn't listen to that football coach, huh?
So he's working for Don Mattingly as his third base coach?
For Tampa.
Oh, he's in Tampa Bay. I'm
Tampa
so
Bay.
sorry, Tampa Bay.
And he's a folk hero. Grew up in Palmetto, really Prime area. And he still comes down and visits people.
I had no idea, but that's a cool story. And I grew up loving baseball. My favorite team were the Detroit Tigers because I grew up in Toledo. And
what was that crazy
our
pitcher's
team.
name? Who talked to himself?
The Bird.
There you go.
Mark Trowbridge, who didn't have a very long career and then died very young. But,
Right.
you know, my nephew and I always talk about The Bird because that was a little bit before his time, but that was very much my era. But the Tigers had two or three guys on their team that were just my favorite.
Who?
Lance Parrish, the catcher,
Okay.
was
Al
very
Campbell.
much my favorite. And then the infield, which was one of the best
Who?
infields of
Who's your favorite player?
Alan Trammell
Who's your favorite
and
Detroit Tiger?
Sweet Lou Whitaker. My favorite player of all time?
No, for the Tigers.
Ooh. That's a really good question because I love so many of them.
Give me one.
I'm going to go with Lou Whitaker at second base.
Lou Whitaker.
Sweet Lou Whitaker.
How you spell his last name?
Like Whittaker. Sweet Lou Whitaker.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Alan Trammell played shortstop. I love Lance Parrish because he had a gun of an arm. He was also immensely tall. But you know who my favorite Tiger was for many, many years? Sparky Anderson.
Everybody loves Sparky.
Love Sparky.
When he was with the Reds, everywhere.
So my dad was always a Yankees fan in the American League and a Cincy fan because he grew up in Cincinnati and lived in Cincinnati. Big Cincinnati fan because of Sparky. And then when Sparky went to work for the Tigers, he tolerated the Tigers even though they were in the same division at the time as his beloved Yankees. So, you know, Sparky was a great guy. You know, he had a rule that the Tiger players had to follow, which was no facial hair. You couldn't have a crazy mustache or a beard. Can you imagine these guys today who some of them, you know, their whole, you know, brand is on their beard, like, or their big head of lettuce or whatever, you know,
Big head of
gorgeous
lettuce.
hair. So
Okay.
Sparky didn't play. And so they won the World Series in 84. We had already moved to Florida, but they beat the Padres. And you mentioned the Expos before. Now, who are the Expos today? Do you know that? Little trivia.
Tommy?
Washington Nationals.
That's correct.
Very good.
They are
What
the
hap- so
Nationals.
what
And that
happened
was
to
a tri-party deal with the Loria family that brought him from the Expos that he owned to the Marlins, made the deal for John Henry to buy the Red Sox and then move the Expos to Washington,
Okay,
D.C.
So what happened to the Senators?
Well, they were gone a long time ago. I think they went somewhere else.
And who was
I mean,
their
a lot
first
of those
baseman in their heyday?
teams
Frank Howard, right?
of the Senators, that goes back a little bit
Before your time.
But I love baseball. I love basketball. I mean, I love all sports. I mean, shoot, I was watching ladies gymnastics on Saturday night
Now,
on
there's a
the
new game
internet.
called pickleball. We won't get into that. Okay, March, looking ahead. Trustee, we got a trustee luncheon. We got real estate update. House on fire.
House on fire, because that's how the market is. The inventory is at an all-time low, interest rates all-time low, and people coming here with cash deals. I met with a woman today who's on our board, and she has a couple out of California that are looking to buy here locally, and she said that when they saw the opportunities in the market, they upped their budget by $500,000 in terms of what they're willing to invest. Well, that opens up a whole other,
Absolutely.
a whole other, piece of the market. So,
any new gems?
No new gems, but we're working on one or two. Working on our good friend Al Maulini and one other. And so, I think again, as people see the path forward, we did a survey last week at the breakfast, and we said, "Are you ready to meet in person now for the breakfast? April, May, or you're not sure?" 50% said now or April.
That's exciting.
It is exciting. So we're getting now up over the hump where more than half want to come together. I think it has to do with the vaccination process. I don't want us to create a dichotomy in our community where it's the people that have it and don't have it. We want it to be as accessible and available as possible. I chart all of this with my friends. Matter of fact, talking with Mario and Sarah and Yami and keeping posted on how people are doing. And listen, it's been a tough year. It's a year to be 65 and smoke, right? We're celebrating. We're celebrating that. So
well, it's interesting.
I'm just 52 and fat. So, what does that get?
But it's interesting, just because you have the vaccine doesn't mean you can't catch it, can't spread it.
Absolutely.
As the
we
flu.
wore our masks diligently, both in the B&B, out on the street, going to and fro. What they say could happen is, it may cause you to have much milder symptoms. But based on what I'm hearing about people in terms of recovery and being in this long-term fog, a guy was on the Today Show talking about how he has to soak his feet because since he had COVID, his feet are like on fire. I mean, I could not live with that.
So
I have giant size 14s.
The flu shot only saves you about 30%, so you still could get the flu.
Sure, just a milder version.
So this shot is going to be stronger, and everybody's going to get it.
So like even AstraZeneca, which is looking to get out on the market's at 79%.
Right, and almost
That's
100%
huge.
guarantee you're not going to go in the hospital, they said.
Right, you wouldn't have to be on a ventilator.
But it's interesting.
But we still need to be careful. I know the CDC has come out with some things in the last week, such as if everybody's vaccinated, you could be indoors with no mask. Okay. Moving the 6 feet down to 3 feet, that's going to be really helpful to certain types of businesses that count on head count and seating, like theaters and other types of venues. But it's also important, I think, to create a consciousness and awareness that things are getting better, but still make good decisions, support one another, and get out there and do everything you can to get vaccinated. The governor of this state and others are letting you know every week kind of the changes in who's eligible. We're now at, some places at 50 and up, other places are anything goes. And then we've got to figure out what's going to happen with kids, because that's really not had a lot of testing done on that.
When you break down the numbers, 500,000 people in Dade County has already had the virus.
Yes, out of about 2.8 million.
And 20% of the people already got their shots.
Right.
So
there probably is some overlap.
Okay. So between 500 and about 800,000 to 900,000 have already had it or had their shot.
So we want that number to be more than half in terms of the shot, because then you're working toward herd immunity. So we want to be at about 1.5 million. So we still have about 1 million to go. It really means that the community, i.e. Miami-Dade County, let's say 2.8 million, are creating their own level of immunity because they have the same relative variant. They have the same, number of people that have had it and are recovered from it, antibody development. All of that is, it's based on the idea that a herd, like a pack, gets immunized because, they can't get hoof and mouth or things like that. So,
gotcha.
Mad cow. That's a herd immunity opportunity.
Well, it's time to wrap it up. What's next?
So what's next is, we are rocking and rolling. There are, at this point, 6 days left in business days in March. So folks, take every advantage of that. Women's History Month, programs that we're hosting, programs that your other local chambers are hosting. Get together, do the good work of your chambers. get invested, get engaged. We work with everybody here locally. There's about 18 of us in our coalition group. And I think most importantly is, now's the time to kind of poke your head out. And even if you're Zooming, get back to Zoom. I know a lot of people are fatigued on that. And I know you just don't see maybe the same value. But you are missing out, at least when it comes to our chamber. You're missing out on some very valuable programming, even if it's us reminding you how to put forth your PPP forgiveness. That is front and center, as well as there are still billions of dollars left in the PPP 2.0. Take a look at that, because that is due to close on March 31st. Unless Congress extends it, that is due to close. And then it's really about what's next. Our state is going to be heavily reliant upon between $9 and $10 billion, B with $1 billion coming from the federal government. That'll help plug some holes in our budget. But not all those dollars are going to come at once. So pay attention to what's going on at the state level, how those dollars will flow back through to municipalities that have had shortfalls, because the last thing you want after all of this is that they have to raise taxes to cover their shortfall, because most of them cannot put forward an unbalanced budget. And so where does that happen? It's on the backs of businesses and residents. So let's be good advocates. Let's keep things moving, transparent, and stay focused on our recovery.
That's it.
Oh, am I doing the close?
You're doing the close. Can we get a round of applause for Mark?
How about a round of applause for everybody who's participated in this today? Morgan reminds me we're only 97 followers. Only 97 followers away from 5,000. So if you're listening today, please go on our Instagram
or tomorrow, the day
at
after.
Gables Chamber, or tomorrow or later this week. We'll put this out tomorrow in the afternoon. But make sure that you follow us at Gables Chamber on Instagram. We have a lot of content. We have a lot of wonderful information.
I have to interrupt you.
Yes.
They got 97 more to go. The 95th person who goes and clicks in will have lunch on Mark and Grant at our choice of restaurant.
So does that mean that there's only 2 left at that point?
Whatever we figure it out. You're going to pick one of them.
Maybe we'll do a drawing of those 90.
I like that idea.
All right.
And our
I'll be glad to have
Arbetters,
lunch.
Tater tots, or Arbetters and French fries.
Arbetters all day long. Thank you, Dave. Looking forward to the formal dedication
or
of
Mojos.
The Tro Tots. Hey, Mario, that's in your neighborhood, so I hope you and Sarah will join me on that day when we dedicate the Tro Tots. I just have to say, I love food. I love tater tots. But there is no better tot in the business than what Dave and Arbiters puts out there. So thank you. Folks, in closing, love on your chamber. We're an essential business just like yours. Spend some time getting to reconnect. Spend some time working on your recovery. A lot of what you're going to do to build your business back is to get back involved in your chamber. And if you weren't involved before, well, guess what? That door is wide open. Our arms are wide open, and let us love on you a little bit. We'll be putting out our COVID annual report tomorrow. We'd love your feedback. But most importantly, our friends and partners at Miami's community newspapers, well, they do the heavy lifting from Aventura to South Dade and everything in between. We're just blessed to be one of those partners telling your stories, the stories of business, shopping local, buying local, being local, loving local.
Have a great day.